the poster we have, the theme that we're going to go through the next several weeks is going to be a journey back to faith. The impetus of that is the upcoming movie, Prince Caspian, and the story of the kids, the Pevensies, who had been in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, lived a lifetime in Narnia. And a year later they returned, but there it's been 1,300 years. And so upon their return, they cannot see Aslan. They even actually start to question whether he exists. But as they journey back to faith, as the other banner we're going to have says, once they believe, then they're able to see. And so on this journey back to faith, we're going to look at the journey of the Israelites. Their journey into the Promised Land. And first, to get to the Promised Land, first they had to leave Egypt. In 3 weeks, we are going to have a Seder meal over at Trinity Church as part of Springfest and as part of this service. And it was, leading up to that was talking about what was going to happen. And leading up to that was the need that they had to be anxious to leave, ready to go. And so this is them going. As we are entering our Easter tide, this is a very appropriate passage as well to talk about the traveling, talk about this journey that we're about to go on. Exodus chapter 13, if you'd like to turn with me, beginning at verse 17. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said, if they faced war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt, armed for battle. As I read that section, you see that there is a short way for them to go, a quick way that they could go. And sometimes we want to go the quick way. But God knew that it was too much for the people of Israel at that time. He also knew that it wasn't time for judgment for the Philistines. You see, part of the reason that the Israelites spent so much time in Egypt was that the time for judgment against Canaan had not yet come. The time for judgment against Egypt was at hand. And also he knew that if they went through Philistine, they had their weapons. They were ready for battle. And so had they gone through, the Philistines very well would have attacked them. It would have been imminent. Battle would have been imminent once they came. And they would have said, I prefer to go back and be a slave in Egypt than to die here, to die in battle. To go through there would have been being set up to fail. It would have been too much. Reminds me of a child that would say, it's too hard. It's too hard. You don't give them too hard of a problem to begin with. You give them something that they can handle. You give them something that they can handle. And God knows when we're ready. God knew when the Israelites were going to be ready. And for them, it took an additional 40 years of wandering in the desert before they were really ready. But God knew when they would be ready as a people to listen to him, to obey him, and continue to follow in the way that he would have them to go. And so they didn't go the short way. They didn't go the short way, but they went the long way. It might have been frustrating for people who wanted to get out of there, who were afraid that they'd be chased. But they knew that the time had come to go. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the sons of Israel swear an oath. He had said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. After leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. By day the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. God continued to be with the people of Israel. He continued to show them exactly where to go. The analogy I've used to talk about this before, about how God shows you where to go, is kind of like on my phone I have GPS, and the program we have is called Telenav. And as we drive along, it'll tell us when to turn. And then as we keep on driving, it'll tell us when to turn again. But if you try to get too far ahead, you're going to miss your turn. You're going to go the wrong way. If you get too anxious and you try to look ahead, I've done this before. Drive right by my turn, have to go 8 miles down the road, turn around, come back, and then make it there. The people of Israel had God there to guide them every single step of the way. And he revealed himself to them by a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud, enabling them to travel at night and at day, and also providing them the cool and the